Welcome to the Psychology of Fake, How Untruths Spread. Today, we're exploring a critical question. Why do untrue stories and pieces of information, often called fake news, travel so fast and reach so many people?
Teacher, it's something I see all the time. Sometimes, even if a story sounds really unbelievable, people still share it. What's going on there?
That's a great observation, and it's a question rooted in some very fundamental aspects of human behavior. Let's dig into it. Segment 1. It's not new. Historical roots. First, let's look at it's not new. Historical roots. The idea that fake news is only a modern problem is actually a myth itself.
So, this isn't just because of the internet. Has misinformation always been around?
Absolutely. Humans have been spreading misleading stories for centuries. Think about the Great Moon Hoax's 1835. Newspapers in New York printed sensational claims about life on the moon, and people believed it because it was so surprising and exciting.
Seriously? People fell for that?
Many did. And even before printing presses, rumors and myths traveled by word of mouth through communities, often changing as they spread. The famous Orson Welles' War of the Worlds radio broadcast in 1938, pretending Martians were invading, even caused real panic in some areas.
So, spreading stories, even untrue ones, is just something humans do?
Precisely. The internet, social media, and instant communication just give these stories incredible speed and reach. Segment 2. Our brains and surprise. The psychology. Next, let's explore our brains and surprise, the psychology. This explains why we are so captivated by the unexpected.
You mentioned how surprising stories grab us. Why are we so drawn to them, even if they're not real? Is there a scientific reason for that?
There is. Our brains are wired for novelty and surprise. When we encounter something new or unexpected, a part of our brain, the VTA, releases dopamine.
Dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical, right?
That's right. It creates a sense of pleasure and motivation, and it helps us remember. This dopamine hit makes us want to learn more about the surprising information. It's an ancient survival mechanism. Noticing new things helped our ancestors find food or avoid danger.
So, a wild story can actually give us a little reward in our brain.
Exactly. And because it feels rewarding, we're more likely to pay attention, engage with it, and often to share it. Segment 3. The power of story and group identity. Our third point delves into the power of story and group identity. This is about how narratives bind us together.
I've heard that humans are storytelling creatures. What does that mean? And how does that relate to untrue stories spreading?
It means we naturally understand and interpret the world through narratives. Societies, cultures, and even countries are built on shared stories, common histories, myths, or core values. These stories give us a sense of identity and belonging.
So, if an untrue story fits into a group's existing beliefs or their story, they might accept it more easily?
Absolutely. This is called confirmation bias. We tend to seek out and prefer information that confirms what we already believe. If a false story reinforces our group's identity, validates our views, or even criticizes an opposing group, it becomes incredibly powerful. Sharing it can even feel like a way to show loyalty to your group.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like, this is our truth.
Precisely. And disagreeing with that truth can feel like betraying your group, which carries a strong social cost. Segment 4. The need for catharsis and emotional release. Now, let's talk about the need for catharsis and emotional release. This highlights the powerful emotional aspect.
You mentioned catharsis, that emotional release. How does that play into why untrue stories spread?
Many untrue stories, especially those designed to be shocking or outrageous, can trigger strong emotions like anger, fear, or even humor. Experiencing these emotions, even vicariously through a story, can provide a sense of emotional release or relief.
So, if I'm angry about something, sharing an outrage-inducing post, even if it's fake, might make me feel a little better?
In a fleeting way, yes. It can offer a quick outlet for pent-up emotions, a sense of doing something with those intense feelings, even if the underlying information isn't true. This strong emotional resonance makes the story highly shareable and memorable. Segment 5, the blur between real and story and cognitive overload. This is about how our minds handle vast amounts of information.
It seems like sometimes people just enjoy a story, even if they're not totally sure it's real, like watching a movie.
That's a key insight. We engage with fiction all the time. Movies, novels, games. Our brains allow us to safely explore scenarios and emotions without real-world consequences. The problem arises when that line between entertaining story and factual information blurs.
And what about when we're just seeing too much information online? Does that make us more vulnerable to fake stories?
Absolutely. It's called cognitive overload. When our brains are swamped with too much information, especially on fast-paced platforms like social media, our ability to think critically becomes fatigued.
So we just go with our gut instinct?
Often, yes. We rely more on quick, intuitive thinking rather than slow, logical analysis. This makes us much more susceptible to emotional, attention-grabbing, but often fake stories. Our mental RAM gets full, and we take shortcuts. Segment 6, practical solutions, what we can do. So, how do we protect ourselves from believing and spreading untrue stories? The single most important step is to pause before you share. Take a breath, ask yourself, is this true? How do I know? Am I sharing it because it's accurate or just because it makes me feel something strong?
What else can we do?
Always check the source. Is it reputable? Who created it? And use fact-checking websites like Snopes or factcheck.org if you're unsure. Also, diversify your information sources to avoid living in an echo chamber.
And if a friend shares something I know is untrue,
Consider sending a polite, private message with a link to a verified source rather than a public confrontation. Remember, everyone is susceptible to these psychological biases, including ourselves. The goal is to be aware and make a conscious effort to think critically. Conclusion. Understanding the psychology of fake empowers us. It's not just about debunking facts, but about understanding our fundamental human wiring for stories, surprise, and connection.
Thanks, teacher. That makes a lot more sense. It's fascinating how our own brains can make us vulnerable to untrue stories.
My pleasure. Stay curious, and most importantly, stay critical.